Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरू श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for doing the Mangalacharan so beautifully. So we are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is Vidura's talks with Maitreya. And today's text is text 10. Mataji, can you read the text once and then line by line, and we can repeat after you, so even we can try to pronounce beautifully like you.
I will try, Mataji.
Text 10.
Text 10. परावरेषां भगवान् वृत्तानि okay.
The whole one and then one by one.
Okay. Okay. परावरेषां भगवान् वृत्तानि श्रुतानि मे मुखाद् अभीक्षणम् अतृप्नुमा क्षुल्ल सुखावहानां तेषां वृते कृष्ण कथामृतौघात् परवरेषां भगवान् वृत्तानि
Paravesham Bhagavan Vrittani
श्रुतानि मे व्यासमुखादभीक्ष्णम्
Sultani Me Vyasamukhad Abhisham Abhikshanam
अतृप्नुमा क्षुल्ल सुखावहानाम्
Atrupnumakshula Sukhava Hanam
तेषां वृते कृष्ण कथामृतौघात्
Tesham Rite Krishna Kathamruta Amrutagat.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna. We can do word to word. Would anybody
Okay,
like to do word to word? Eastern Prabhu, would you like to do word to word? Or Bhakta Mugo or Renuka Mataji? Okay, I think we can do. Mataji, continue with the word to word.
Hare
And then Hare Krishna, Eastern Prabhu.
chapter 3, Canto 3, chapter 5, verse 10.
Yes, word to word. Para.
Okay.
Haya.
Okay. Para haya
Para. Haya.
avaresha. Oh, sorry.
adoration
of these lower.
of these lower.
Lord.
Bhagavan, O my Lord,
Bhagavan,
O great one.
O my Lord, O great one.
Okay.
Vratani, occupations.
Vrtani, occupations.
Shrutani, heard.
Shrutani, heard.
Me, by me.
Me, by me.
Vyas, Vyas.
Vyas, Vyasa.
Mukhat, from the mouth.
Heart, from the mouth.
Abhikshnam, repeatedly.
Abhikshanam, repeatedly.
Atrapnuma, I am satisfied.
Atrap Numa, I am satisfied.
Tishula, little.
Shula, little.
Sukha, avahanam, that which causes happiness.
Sukha avanhanam, that which causes happiness.
Tesham, out of that.
Esham, out of that.
Rite, without.
Rite, without.
Krishna Katha talks about the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna.
Krishna Katha talks about the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna.
Amrita, O God, from the nectar.
Amrita, O God, from the nectar.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, kindly read the translation and purport. Maybe
Okay.
Doreen Mataji can help you with the purport as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Translation. O my Lord, I have repeatedly heard about these higher and lower statuses of human society from the mouth of Vyasadeva, and I am quite satiated with all these lesser subject matters and their happiness. They have not satisfied me with the nectar of topics about Krishna. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Doreen Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji, for joining in and giving your time. I know you are rushing to come to work at this time, and we are really, really grateful to you. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 5, and the text for today is text 10. We have read the text and the word to word and translation. So we can hand over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashrayata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srinuvata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridayantastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suvrit Satam Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Asloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtiki. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. As Mataji mentioned, it's 3.5.10 today. So let's get into the verse and also look into some of the points that's being talked about in today's verse. So it's being said, the translation says, "Oh my Lord, I have repeatedly heard about the higher and the lower status of human society from the mouth of Vyasadeva, and I'm quite satiated with lesser subject matters and their happiness. They have not satisfied me with the nectar of topics about Krishna." So there is definitely a contrast that's being spoken about here. Um, obviously, there is so many books that Vyasadeva has compiled, and we also happen to talk about how he was not satiated with many compilations of his, and he was instigated, to talk about Krishna Katha, which will only be the only source of satiation for him. And that was talked about in Canto number 1. And we had a very, very deep discussion about, I think it is in chapter 5, if I'm not mistaken, Canto 1 and chapter 5. If you want to go and recollect some of the verses from that chapter, please feel free to do so. This is exactly what it talked about, how Vyasadeva was not feeling satiated. Whatever he did, it was just not enough. It's just that he has to tell the world about Krishna Katha, which will bring him that satiation that he was looking. That he is looking. With all subject matters, he was satiated, and Krishna Katha is the only subject matter which will fulfill his heart at this point. Because he was feeling restless. At some point, he was like, "Man, what am I doing? I did so many things, and even then, I don't feel content. Something is some anxiety is always there within me." And then, he was revealed that obviously he has to talk about Krishna Katha to the world, and that is what will fulfill his heart's content. Okay, now here also we have talked about, the puppet is talking about, Srila Prabhupada says, Mahabharata is the history of Battle of Kurukshetra, and common people read it. It's full of social, political, economic problems of the society. But factually, the most important part of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita, which talks about, which automatically taught to the readers the historical narrations of Battle of Kurukshetra. Here also, Vidra is explaining to Maitreya how he was, how he was fully satiated with the knowledge of social political topics that is there in today's world, and it's of no more interest to him. And he is definitely looking to hear transcendental topics about Lord Krishna from Maitreya Muni. And Krishna Katha is the only thing that is transcendental. And if we hear that subject matter, is it going to be feeling there? Is there going to be feeling of satiation? Pure devotee of the Lord will never feel satiated with such hearing of the transcendental topics. Of course, I am a conditioned soul. I may feel satiated. Yeah, yeah. It's because I have so much conditioning within me. I may say, it's of no interest to me. Okay, let me hear something else instead of Krishna Katha. Because this is all due to my conditioning, right? Again, but when it comes to the pure devotees of the Lord, they never feel satiated when it comes to these topics. Here's a contrast, dear devotees. You can't generalize it to say everybody, they won't feel satiation, right? It's a question of conditioning. And again, with Vidura, he will not be satiated in hearing Krishna Katha. But I, as a conditioned soul, might feel, oh yeah, I know I have heard Krishna Katha, I've heard all his stories. I understand everything, I know it. I don't want to hear again and again. This is for pure devotees who relish Krishna, Krishna Katha, Krishna, holy name. Everything is relished by them, word by word. And when they say Krishna, everything, all the pastimes and all that comes to their mind. And hence there is no there is no satiation, of course. Okay. Um, Now, Krishna Katha means Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Katha because it is spoken by Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam is also Krishna Katha because it narrates about Krishna. And this is the only thing that can purify the conditioned souls. At the end of the day, we are all here. We are all here reading Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Father. And without Krishna, there is nothing. And we have to go back to Krishna to serve Him in the spiritual world. And it's not that our purpose is to come again and again. Oh, yeah, come in a very rich family, come in a very educated family, be born as a businessman, have a lot of wealth. This is not the motive of us. The motive of Bhakta is to go back to Krishna to serve Him. Of course, a Bhakta doesn't have to go to the spiritual world to serve Krishna. That's also there. It's just the fact that he has to serve Him, be it in the material or be it in the spiritual world. But in the material world, obviously, we will get distracted with so many things that happen in this material world. And again, if you're born, you have to be like born a pure devotee. So there is no distraction. Even if there are distractions, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't bother you at the end of the day. And that is the state we have to be if we are born in this material world. So the goal or the ultimatum for us is to go back to Krishna or to be here serving the Lord 24/7. But again, the concept is we have to understand the fact that the purpose of any life for this matter is to serve Krishna, nothing but Krishna. That's the point. All right, dear devotees, with this, we will get into some points of relevance that can be understood. Okay. I know we've been talking about so many things when it comes to scriptures. I'll also be elucidating many such pointers that can help get to that pure devotion. Okay. So this is the objective of Srimad Bhagavatam. At the end of the day, we have to understand pure devotion is the way to reach Krishna. And how to get that pure devotion, that's what we are all striving for. And it can be done overnight, right? I become a millionaire overnight, lottery, some form, but this is not something that can be reached overnight. You have to slowly hanker, desire, serve, and then finally get to a point where you're able to understand that yes, pure devotion, Krishna is the ultimate. I don't have to work, I don't have to do anything to maintain myself or my family. Krishna will take care of me. So karma, jnana, everything has to go away, but bhakti has to stay. And if we are in this mindset, first getting that vishwas on the shastrartha vishwasoha, right? I believe the shastras, and shastras tells me that this is the point, and I'm uh, ready to have full faith on the shastras. Drida shraddha, develop that. Trying to develop that drida shraddha is what Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is helping us to achieve. Okay, so now so we'll get through some of the pointers as we spoke about, and then maybe if we have any further questions, then we can also answer that questions. Okay, dear devotees. Just give me 1 minute. Now, when it comes to Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, I mean, Srila Jiva Goswami, I mean, now I'll just talk about a few things, okay? Um, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is the founder Acharya of Gaudiya Vaishnavism, and he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly, and we are paying obeisances to him, right? The Lord himself came in this Kali Yuga and he gave the conclusions of the Shastras. He taught his teachings to Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. And both of them, they taught the same philosophy to Srila Jiva Goswami, which was then passed down further. Whatever Srila Jiva Goswami learned from his predecessors, say Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatan Goswami, he compiled everything in the form of book. Of course, if you look at Srila Sanatan Goswami, he first wrote this book called Hari Bhakti Vilas. It explains the different angas of bhakti, right? Vilasas means various opulence or items of bhakti. So if you look at Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, we see only 64 items or limbs of bhakti. But Hari Bhakti Vilas has like thousands of items there that can be done by a pure devotee. A devotee can practice various limbs to make his 24 hours direct devotional service to the Lord. So Hari Bhakti Vilas is a big bhakti book that Srila Sanatan Goswami wrote. And then Srila Rupa Goswami, what did he write, dear devotees? He wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Now, Srila Jiva Goswami, he established Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the source of all knowledge and is the highest pramana, highest scripture. What is he talking about in Srimad? What is being talked about in Srimad Bhagavatam? In the whole universe, Srimad Bhagavatam has the highest authority and it's speaking about the absolute truth. Then after that, based on Srimad Bhagavatam, he established what is Abhideya and Prayojan by defining them based on Srimad Bhagavatam. So based on Srimad Bhagavatam, he spoke the absolute truth, which is nothing but Krishna himself. It's talked about in the 4 Sandarbhas. So there are 4 Sandarbhas that is called Tattva Sandarbha, Bhagavad Sandarbha, Paramatma Sandarbha and Krishna Sandarbha. He defined Krishna who can be worshipped in the form of Brahman and Paramatma also. So the point is, if we are told in our home there is a lot of treasure that is buried underground, that much information itself is sufficient, right, for us to dig the earth and get that treasure. Now, if you look at Krishna, similarly, here also we learn, oh my God, Krishna is so blissful. His form is transcendental. His energies are unlimited. He is the supreme controller. He's what? He's the knower of everything. Like this, all these features of Krishna is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. After understanding this, automatically you will be inspired to dedicate yourself to Krishna. And then get this extreme bliss that Lord gives to his dedicated devotees. And this is what is talked about in the 4 Sandarbhas. That means just speaking about Krishna itself sufficient to know what we should do and what we will get. But again, if you look at Kali Yuga people, we are all dull-minded people. Because of our dullness, once again, our problem is explained and what we should do first. And by doing what, you will get what, everything is explained. That's how this Abhideya and Prayojan is coming into picture. Otherwise, this Tattvam itself is sufficient to automatically inspire us to get to Krishna and love Krishna and please Krishna. Right? It's like, as I told you, it's like getting a lot of treasure. Oh yeah, you've been told there's a lot of treasure that's underground. That itself is enough to get to the earth and dig and find out where the treasure is. Like that, this books themselves are capable of uh, you getting that inspiration to serve Krishna and please Krishna and love Krishna. But because of our dullness, we are stopped. We are stalled. You're able to understand. This is a very important point here, devotees. Now, so the Shastras are specifically saying, but still for our dullness, Shastras are saying what? Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Harihi. Shrotavya Krititavyasya Smartavya Chetatha Bhayam. Shastra is saying that all the time we should do what? The Harihi Sotravya, chanting, Kirtitavya, hearing, Smartavya, remembering Krishna's name, we should do all the time. But actually, there is no need to say like this. Just like if someone said there is a lot of treasure, as we said before, and it's just hidden underground. Then is there a need to also tell you that you're a poor man, you have to get the treasure? And how to dig and get that wealth? Is there a need? No. Generally, it's not needed. But for our poor and dull-headed mind, that knowledge is needed. Similarly, we all know, yes, I know, you know, we are suffering in this material world. And through these sandarbhas and scriptures, we learn Krishna is blissful. And he is blissfully situated in his transcendental abode. But for sober people, this one sentence is sufficient. Take up to Krishna consciousness, serve Krishna and love Krishna all the time. We're not sober. We're dull-minded. We have so much confusion and we have so much misunderstanding. All nonsense is there in our condition. In the heart of the conditioned divas, there's just so much garbage. That's why there is a need of specifically saying that you have a problem. And how you have to come out of that problem is by worshipping Krishna. That's why Shastra, it seems, it's giving all these minute details to us. You're able to understand, dear devotees. It's a very, very, what do you call? It's a very interesting point. Right? we wouldn't have thought about it in that way. Yeah, I just understand it. I got it. So a person will just take up Krishna consciousness just by hearing this particular sentence in, the scripture saying, yes, he's all powerful, all blissful personality sitting in the transcendental abode, and he's the treasure. And our purpose is to serve him. As soon as he hears this, he automatically goes towards that goal of serving Krishna, loving Krishna. But again, we are stopped from doing that automatically because there are some anarthas that are prohibiting us from getting there. Conditioning is very, very rooted in us. Now, very, very important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, dear devotees. Without this verse, I don't think we understand our dullness, right? This is 11.2.37. Bayam dvitiya apiniveshat tasyat ishat apetasya viparyo smritihi. So, we don't know that we are all suffering and Krishna is blissful. And his servants who are in the abode, are they blissful? Don't you know? Yes, we know. We know we are all suffering in this material world, Dukkalyam Ashashvatam. We also know about this fact that Krishna is always blissful. We also know about the fact that Krishna's servants who are in his abode, they are also blissful. After knowing this, why are we waiting to still serve him 24 hours? Why? That's our duty. Of course, everybody wants happiness in this world. Who can say that I don't want happiness? Please raise your hands. Anybody here who say, yeah, I don't want happiness, Mataji. What's there in happiness? Nothing. See, in eating, there is happiness. In every activity we do, we are expecting happiness, isn't it? Yes or no? And now we know the ultimate source of happiness is Krishna, and he can give you happiness that's like permanent. It's not going to go away like temporary happiness in this material world. We know how long it lasts. But with regards to Krishna, we know that he can give us the happiness 24/7, transcendental happiness. But we are not able to serve him 24 hours. That's because it's our dullness. Because of our dullness, Shastra is telling us our problem also. In the example, doesn't the person who, whatever the pressure example, doesn't the person know that he's poor? Then after knowing that there is a treasure hidden underground in his house, immediately he should go and dig the earth and get the treasure. That this treasure that we are talking about is what? It's Krishna Prem, which always gives us bliss. But we are not digging to get that treasure. To get that treasure, what we have to do, dear devotees, we have to serve Krishna all the time. And that should be a natural, spontaneous approach. If that's not there, that means how fallen we are. That's the point. That is why Shastra is helping us. Oh my God, you're so fallen. I'll explain you. Okay, I'll tell you in detail. I'll tell you that Lord is merciful and He is giving this mercy in the form of Shastras. And Shastra means Vedas. Veda is what? An exhalation of the Lord. And amongst the Vedas, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the highest truth. That Srimad Bhagavatam is telling what? Vayam dvitiya abhinivesha tasyad isha tapetasya viparyayo smritihi. This Shastra is explaining our problem in the first line. And the second line, what it is telling? It's also telling, what we should do about that problem. Isha tapetasya. There is some lacking with the Jivatma. What is he lacking? It is lacking the knowledge about this absolute truth. That knowledge is absent in this Jivatma. This Jivatma is pure, transcendental, completely Chit. But this problem, there is a problem with this Jivatma. That problem is that he is not having the knowledge of the absolute truth from when? From beginningless. There is no beginning of the state. When Anadi is said, all questions are finished there. There's no beginning of the state. If you say there is a beginning, then you should find a cause for that beginning. If there is no beginning, then there is no cause to find any reason. It's just, or cause for this absence of absolute truth. There's no cause for that. That is the meaning of Isha Tapetasya. Then what will happen? Asmritihi. That same absolute truth possesses a component of Maya. What it's doing? This Jivatma is covered by this Maya potency called Avidya. With the potency of Avidya, Maya is covering this Jivatma. It's not having the knowledge about absolute truth, which is pure. So when this Jivatma is covered by Avidya, even though it has the ability to know the self as soul, it's not able to know the soul. It's not able to know the self. For example, just think about, even though you have the eyes has the ability to see the objects. When they are covered with darkness, it's not able to see any object, but that doesn't mean the eyes is defective. The eyes has only that much potency. When they are covered in darkness, they can't see. Similarly, this Jivatma is Chit Shakti and has limited potency. When it's covered with this avidya, it cannot know, who am I? Even though it has the ability to know, yes, I am the soul. That means he is forgetting. Because of avidya, asmritihi is happening, forgetting himself that I am the soul. That kind of knowledge is not prevailing in him. He is just not able to know it. Right? On top of this, Maya has another component called Prakriti that covers the Jivatma with so many different layers. It has false ego, chittam, intelligence, mind, senses, grass body, and various sense objects that are there to attract this Jivatma. And then, one more thing, dear devotees, on top of all this Jivatma is having karma from beginningless. The way the Jivatma is not having the knowledge of the absolute truth from beginningless, it's also having karma from beginningless. 2 points, right? So whenever you see beginningless, just understand the fact there is no need to find a cause or a reason. Absolutely no need. We don't need to break our head to find a reason. Why am I not able to understand or have the knowledge about the absolute truth? It's there from beginningless. And Jivatma is also having what? Karma from beginningless. No need to understand the cause. This is simple way of understanding. With this, you don't have to break your head. So our material mind always is inquisitive to get the cause, right? It's a material mind, intelligence and logic. They all work together. That's why Shastra is telling stop at a certain point. Your material mind can't go. The things are said in the Shastras are anadi. When anadi is used, when beginningless is used, you should not use your conditioned mind or intelligence to find out what the reason is. Beginningless means there is no beginning. In mathematics, if you look at it, there is a bell-shaped curve which will not touch the axis T. Right? If we ask when this curve started, it started from negative infinity and ends in positive infinity. Again, the point here, dear devotees, is there is no beginning or end of the curve. We accept even in mathematics, there is no beginning or end of certain things like bell-shaped curve. Similarly, these are spiritual phenomena. Please accept and take care of it. When you're able to theoretically understand certain concepts in mathematics, here it's spiritual. Beginningless, no questions asked. There's no beginning. So because of this false ego, this Jivatma is covered by avidya, it's getting a wrong identification. Inherently, it can identify itself as the soul. But because of this avidya, he's not able to identify himself as the soul. And this is because of his ahankara. He's identifying sometimes as a body, sometimes as mind, sometimes as chitta, sometimes as intelligence. We say, yeah, I'm fat. But the fatness belongs to the body. The details of the subject they have to be understood. That's why viparyayo smritihi, because of false ego. Maya's prakriti is giving false ego, chitta, mind, senses, cross body, everything. And he identifies himself as the body and he claims whatever qualities belongs to his body, that is his own. Example, it's telling, oh yeah, eating a laddu gives me pleasure. When the leg is hurt, it gives me pain. And also there is desire. All this, the desires are the functions of the mind. When the soul is covered with this avidya, it identifies the self with the mind. He thinks I'm happy, I'm sorrowful. That means the dualities in the body are identified as if it's its own. That is dvitiya abhinivesha tatsyat, right? Entering into the dualities. Since the Jivatma started identifying the self with subtle and gross bodies. I mean, subtle body is a mind, right? It gives me happiness, this gives me pleasure, this gives me sorrow. So qualities of the mind you identify with the mind. In fact, you identify with the body. So it's identifying at the end of the day, this Jivatma, he starts to identify himself with the subtle and gross bodies, the qualities of the body, and claims, yes, they are my own. And because of these dualities that he's experiencing, he's getting fear. He gets fear because of this duality. But is it the original state of this Jivatma? No, 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 no. That is not the original state of this Jivatma. Shastra is explaining our problem also. For a sober man, this explanation is not at all required. Simply hearing about bhakti and the glories of the Lord and the situation and position of the Lord, immediately that person, what he will do? He will go and serve the Lord. But still, Shastras is helping Kali Yuga people, the dull-minded people like me. It is explaining our problem and then it's explaining the solution too. Oh my God, you're identifying yourself with a gross body sometimes, you're identifying yourself with a subtle body sometimes, just identifying with the qualities of the mind. And what does that get you to? It gets you to dualities. And because of this duality, you fear. And is this the original state of the Jivatma? No, not at all. So what's the solution now? Right? So that's why intelligence persons worship Guru as the Lord. The main problem is that this Jivatma is not having knowledge about the absolute truth. We know. So this Jivatma should gain knowledge about the absolute truth so that this Maya will not catch this Jivatma. Absolute truth we know is Krishna. That's why Maya belongs to this absolute truth. And by Jiva getting to know about Krishna, Maya is going to leave him. Then what does he have to go do to get the knowledge about the absolute truth, Krishna? He has to worship. Shastra is therefore giving the solution. You dull-minded person, you worship Krishna. Maya belongs to him only. Don't worry. If you are intelligent, you should treat your Guru as the Supreme Lord and treat him with devotion, bhaktya with love. Then our problem is solved. So Shastra is telling us what's our problem and then it proposes the solution to also help overcome that problem. That main problem again and again, dear devotees, is us not having knowledge about the absolute truth. This is the main problem. Please just don't get that. Please do get that concept into your head and everything else becomes easy. Because if Krishna is there, everything is there. Right? If Krishna is there, not there, then you're doomed to life. And this Krishna, now he can be realized in two ways. Without attributes is nirvishesha and with attributes is avishesha. Absolute truth, Krishna, can be realized with attributes or without attributes. In our life also we perceive certain objects with attributes and without attributes. These are the only two ways. And in that with attributes there can be hundreds and varieties of forms. But basically you can perceive the objects only in two ways. In conditioned state, you realize the objects in two ways, with attributes and without attributes. Even in the liberated state, with your transcendental senses, you can realize the objects in two ways, which is with attributes and without attributes. In our day-to-day life, in the conditioned state, we experience this. Initially, when our senses come in contact with the object, for example, when eyes come in contact with a pen, in a first fraction of a second, the eye is not capturing the features of the object. Rather, the knowledge is there, something is there. There is a form, size, color of the objects that are not captured. Such a realization happens, right? You may now say, I don't have realization. That is because my precision is not there in the observation. But as per the Shastra, what happens is When eyes come in contact with a pen, initially it's perceived without any attributes. Similarly, Paratattvam is also perceived by some upasakas without attributes. That's in a Nirvishesha realization that we talked about. But some upasakas realize the absolute truth with attributes, which is Savishesh. This is how it all depends on the perception of an individual perceiving those objects. So from this, we understand what we understand. A worshipper can perceive absolute truth without attributes. They do such a sadhana. And some people, they want to perceive the absolute truth with the attributes and they get that kind of realization. Of course, initially we all know, nobody has knowledge of absolute truth. And such a Jivatma can know the absolute truth either with attributes or without attributes. If the Jivatma realizes this absolute truth without attributes, then he has to do some kind of sadhana known as Jnana Yoga. And if this Jivatma wants to perceive the absolute truth with attributes, what sadhana he has to do? He has to do Bhakti Yoga. And through this process of Jnana Yoga, which Jivatma realizes absolute truth without attributes, and finally he reaches where? The Nirvishesha form of the absolute truth. This is called Jnana Rupa Samyukya. Happens through Jnana Yoga. Initially he has no knowledge, but to perceive the absolute truth without knowledge, he takes to this process called Jnana Yoga. And by following Jnana Yoga, he turns towards absolute truth. Similarly, we also know there are other category of people, they also don't have any knowledge about absolute truth, but they want to perceive the absolute truth with attributes. So they practice Bhakti Yoga. And these are the two yogas that one can get into to bring one of these two realizations that we talked about. The entry door for both is Karmarpanam. And why only Karmarpanam? Because this Jivatma has avidya and karma since Anadi. On top of it, it has all these coverings, false ego, so many things, chitta, mind, intelligence, so many things. Being influenced by this karma, what does this Jivatma do? They naturally engage in further karma using this subtle and gross bodies, dear devotees. He does karma based on his previous karma. Then what is the basic beginning of this karma? There is no beginning. So thus, the conditioned Jivatma initially can do most of what it can do is karma only. Now, to get the realization of the Lord, he should at least begin whatever he is doing in terms of karma. He has to offer that to the Lord, and that is called karmarpanam. Are you all with me, dear devotees? That's why karma arpanam is the beginning or the entry door to enter into Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Are there any more possibilities other than these three paths? There is no more than that of three yogas that we talked about. So, Karmarpanam, Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. The Lord is saying the same thing. If you have eligibility, then you practice. If you get the eligibility to, accordingly you'll practice Jnana Yoga. If you get eligibility to Bhakti Yoga, then you do Bhakti Yoga. Otherwise, you are eligible to do both Karmarpanam, both of them. Before even entering one path or another, they will do Karmarpanam. This is also being talked about in Uddhava, by Uddhava in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.20.6. Nirvishesha and Savishesha. And how one practices Nirvishesha, another practices Savishesha. And how these are, that's why there are only two yogas. And whoever is not eligible to do either, they're not able to get fully into Bhakti Yoga or Jnana Yoga, obviously they're doing Karmarpanam. If they are not offering that also, then they are simply karmis. Those who don't offer to the Lord, they simply enjoy the result of that karma and they are called karmis. If someone is not able to do even karma, then they are doing vikarma. They are vikarmis. This is all the classification that Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam is talking about. Now, we have to know, you should know what is the problem for the jiva, what it is lacking, what are the available ways, what is our way, and what is needed of a guru to travel on his path, and which kind of guru will do As what benefit? It's very important to know this. Now, who's eligible for which yoga? Who's eligible for Jnana Yoga? Who's eligible for Bhakti Yoga? Who's eligible for Karma Yoga? Those people who are completely detached. Someone who's completely detached from the pleasure of the objects, this position of the earthly planet and other material planets like Swarga, Satyaloka, and all of that. If you're detached of those planets, if you're detached of what is going to bring pleasure to you, person who has lost such kind of interest, this is the person whom we have to say, yes, he's the one who has to practice Jnana Yoga. The eligibility actually comes from a complete detachment towards material objects and the positions on the earth and in higher planets. These people are eligible to do Jnana Yoga. Now, who is eligible for Karma Yoga? Jnana Yoga is recommended for those people with complete detachment for the pleasures this earthly planet or higher planets have to offer. And these people, who have attachment to material pleasure, who are not detached, and who have obviously the desire to objects like money, wealth, name, fame on earth and on higher planets, if they don't have detachment, then Karma Yoga is basically recommended for them. Karma Yoga is for those people who have attachment or desires and those who don't have detachment. Now, who is this people who are eligible for Bhakti Yoga? That's what we've been seeing, right? If a person he gets Shraddha or strong faith in the Lord and Lord's pastimes, somehow or the other, Edrichya, he is eligible to Bhakti Yoga. Does he need full detachment like the Jnanis? No. But you should have strong faith in Krishna and the pastimes of the Lord. That's enough. Also, he shouldn't have too much attachment towards material objects. That's also another thing. Because then he would have to be running after these material objects. If he has too much attachment for them, then obviously he will be running towards them. So the requirement for this Bhakti Yogi is strong faith. Yes, so this is the Dhrida Shraddha is what it comes to. And when we do this Bhakti Yoga, that's when we get the Savishesha realization. So the eligibility for the Bhakti Yoga is what? Shraddha. And the main point is, how's the Shraddha coming? Somehow or the other, accidentally. Somehow or the other, accidentally, you get this Shraddha, right? Again, this has to be understood. We will try to delve. I mean, even though we have spoken about this in various forms, various classes, one way or the other, directly or indirectly, there is so much that could be perceived through these sessions. Our dull mind is so dull that too many things have to be repeated for us to understand the expert nature of Krishna trying to tell us the subject matter. So let's keep trying, dear devotees. Again, at the end of the day, if we understand pure devotion, everything will fall into place. This is what Srimad Bhagavatam is trying to tell us. This is what Bhagavad Gita is trying to tell us. Just develop this faith towards Krishna. We know he's the treasure. He's the treasure that we have to look for year after year, life after life. But we are not still convinced that he's a treasure himself. That's why we have to be educated. Oh, yeah, this treasure is worth billions and millions. Let's keep repeating that and try to understand and tell ourselves, yes, I now understand Krishna's glory. I feel I've understood him, right? And that time, I think Krishna will tell us who he really is by helping us get that bliss that we are longing year after year, life after life. That bliss is unmatchable. That's what Krishna will reveal us when we do understand the fact. Yes, he's the treasure. He's the hidden thing in my life. And now that I've understood him, I understand and realize how blissful it is to chant the holy names of the Lord. How blissful it is to talk about Krishna, just talk about his glories. How blissful. Oh my God, I have never seen that kind of bliss anywhere in this material world. And after that, there's just that straight one pointed focus about uh, understanding Krishna more and more and more. With this, we will stop, dear devotees. And then obviously we delve into the next verse next time. Okay, let's Let's pray. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripasindubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for such a wonderful session. Sorry, I can't switch on my video because of the internet. It's raining really heavily
wow.
here. So
Uh-huh.
the internet is fluctuating.
Okay.
If I put the video on, then you won't be able to
Oh
hear
yeah,
me.
I really missed your expressions, Mataji.
I can switch on the video,
No,
but
no.
then I'll be able to
No,
talk.
no, no. Don't worry, Mataji. Just absolutely no problem.
So this was a great revelation to me, today's session. And I went and it's how we have graduated to this stage after 3 or 4 years of constantly listening and being the same thing being hammered into our minds that Krishna is the cause of all everything. Krishna, I mean, you have shown, you and the other mentors have repeatedly shown us the treasure that is hiding under our space, and yet we are not digging. So we were okay
Not
when we
yet.
were foolish. We were foolish and we were dull-headed and we didn't know about Krishna. At that time, we were in total bliss, if you can say the material bliss. And now we know it. And in spite of knowing it, we are even more dull-headed because we are not digging into it to retrieve it. And that is, again, you gave us reasons based on our shastras that because of avidya and ahankara and the dualities, and then we fear. And thank you. Then you gave us the solution as well. And it is a simple solution, which is to worship our gurus as Lord, and then the kripa will come. And only thing we need, only eligibility we need is faith. And this was a great revelation to me today, that it comes accidentally. I thought we had to develop faith, but today I heard that it comes accidentally, and then I feel it might be because of the mercy of devotees around us or our guru, that this faith comes. So can you clarify that point a little
Next
bit
class.
more?
It's a big revelation, Mataji. Next class we'll talk about it. Really, it needs a bit of an explanation and understanding, because that verse speaks about that idrichya. It's not simple. Let's understand that next class, or whenever I try to make sure that I dive into that subject matter, because I think my role is to enhance my faith, and only through preaching can this be enhanced. So we will make sure to understand that in a very detailed way, and just idruchya, how is that word? What does it mean? That's something we will definitely talk about in the coming class for sure. Very good
Thank
point,
you.
Mataji. Very
Thank you. Thank you
absolutely.
so
You
much.
always inspire so many people through your attentive nature. I appreciate that.
Hare Krishna. We can open this session up to any other questions or comments from the group. I see we have the presence of His Grace Madan Gopal Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Ji, pranams to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Hare Krishna, and pranam to all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
We
Prabhuji.
have
It's
2
my
more minutes.
fortune. Prabhuji and his wife are so inspiring. Dandavat pranams to you, Prabhuji and Mataji.
Thank you for a lovely class today. Very enlivening and very full of
Prabhu.
realizations. Hare Krishna.
I still remember the day I met you in Sadhu Sangha, with your devoted son. It's my pleasure, Prabhuji. Just being in contact with such great devotees is always my pleasure. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, I remember that very fondly. Yeah, a couple of times you came, once or twice, I think you came to Sadhu Sangha,
Yes,
right? And
yes, Prabhuji, and
yes.
both the times I just had association of you and Mataji, and Prabhuji wouldn't even for a minute be without chanting. Just even for a minute, be it whatever activity is going on the side, he wouldn't. I just, it's embedded in my heart. He wouldn't. Yeah,
That
this
was at
is
least
what
like
it's.
8 years ago. I think 8, 9 years ago you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Right.
8, 9 years ago. But I fondly remember that, and it was such a big inspiration to see a family and his son. He had so many responsibilities even at that young age to carry. I think there was Mataji brought a lot of food items to prepare for Maharaj. So he
That's
had to
right.
probably climb like 10, 20 times up and down the stairs, and Prabhuji would do that without even telling one, oh no, ma, I can't do it. Kids will say it, right? At that age, you'd be like, kids can say no to it anytime, but he was such a, inspiring devotee, even from his young age, that he wouldn't say no to his mom, and he would carry all whatever ingredients up and down the stairs, multiple times. I I think I have too many to talk about, but this was some things that I can't forget.
Yeah, good memories. Very nice memories. Yes.
Of course, Prabhuji. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Hare Krishna. Uh, any questions or comments from the group? I know we have exhausted our time. So if there are...
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Mataji.
Gayatri
Beautiful.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for wonderful session today as well as always. Yes, Mataji. And as you were saying, like we have to for bhakti, we don't need, we don't have to renounce, but at the same time, we have to work because we have responsibilities and we have to, that is also kind of seva for our own family when we are doing just, we will be doing karma arpanam at the same time we can do bhakti, right, Mataji? I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah. Karmarpanam will eventually, when it goes to the stage of Drida Shraddha, at that point, you will feel, Mataji, that point will happen where you will not feel the need for karma. Of course, with us, it's always family responsibilities, but our mind will always be towards Krishna even when doing karma, right? That's
Yeah.
what happens in the stage of a pure devotee. Pure devotee
Mm.
might be a king. He could be Ambrish Maharaj, but his
Mm.
thoughts were always on Krishna. This is
Yes.
this is where even though they do seem like as if doing karma, but they're always in bhakti. That
Yes.
stage would happen for a pure devotee. It will slowly transition where our mind and everything will be engaged on Krishna 24/7, irrespective of what we do. Okay,
Yes,
that
Mataji.
karma arpanam stage has to transition, and that's what we're looking for. Pure devotion is what we want. We don't want fame, we don't want name, we don't want anything. We don't want karma, jnana, but sometimes we have to do karma to show example to people that yes, see, I'm doing. I have to show as an example. Arjuna was in the war, but always remembering Krishna. Imagine if somebody is doing a surgery and they have to remember Krishna. They can't do. You can do two things at the same time, but a pure devotee can. That's the point.
Yes.
You can be a Parinishtita Bhakta, at the same time be a pure devotee of the Lord.
Yes,
Okay?
Mataji.
That's
Yes.
where
Thank you
we
so
have
much.
to come. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Beautiful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. With that, I think we'll end the session for today. Can I request Eastern Prabhu, kindly please end the session for us today? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Let's accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. So many revelations today. At least I've seen something different from the way I had been thinking before, and I hope to grow better. I'll be looking forward for the clarification of Grace Kirtika Mataji's question. I was also wondering about that.
Absolutely.
Hopefully. I will also like to in the class. It was so good to see him in the class, and also acknowledging Nation's presence. He doesn't always attend, but yeah. Yeah, I would like to request all of us to unmute and chant one round of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and the glorification of Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Rama,
Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Vanchakaptarubhyascha
Kripa
eva cha
Vaishnavesyo
patitanam
Namo
pavanebhyo
Namaha.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Grace Kasturi Radhika Mataji ki,
All
Jai.
praise glory
Grantaraj
to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
So much.
Krishna.
See
Thank
you all
you.
next week.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you so much.
No.